Hey everyone, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy. I love it when I get to bring you guys new ideas or new concepts that is going to make your job even easier. So today I'm going to be showing you an all-in-one solution that is going to do so many different things for you and your server that you're probably going to wonder, how did we ever survive without this tool? Hey everyone, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I'm teaching you guys the very best tips and tricks to owning and operating a successful Rust server. If you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, scroll down just a little bit, and if that subscribe button down below is still red, that means you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. Do me a favor, hit that button. It makes it so much easier for you to get notified as soon as I upload a new video. I put out a brand new video every Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I'd love to have you as a part of my team. And while you're down there, you might as well hit the like button too. All right, many of you already know that I've been working on this video for quite some time, and I'm happy to announce that I'm finally ready to bring it to you and show you all about it. So this is Ultimate Archon. It's available from Codefling.com, and I'll put a link to it in the video description down below. Plus, I'm going to give you a promo code that's going to save you some money off of the purchase price. So of course, right now you should be asking, what is Ultimate Archon? Why do I want it? Why would I pay for it? What does it do for me? So basically what Ultimate Archon does is it takes any Discord integrations that you've used up until this point and has now made them moot. You no longer need those Discord integrations because this one bot is going to do most of the stuff that you might be using 7, 8, 9 plugins for right now. And what is the ultimate goal? Performance. So if we can start removing plugins from our server and using tools or bots just like this one, then of course that's going to increase the performance of our server. The server no longer has to be working with plugins, doing reports, all this other stuff, which of course is a huge benefit to you as well as your players. So obviously it's right in the title of this bot, Ultimate Archon. So obviously this is an Archon bot that integrates with our Discord that allows us to view as well as control our Archon directly from our Discord. But it does so much more than that. It has a built-in dynamic population changer. So as the population on your server increases, so does the available slots that are available for new players to join. Discord wipe announcements. It does global chat logging as well as team chat logging. It also allows you to communicate back and forth directly from Discord right into your server. It has a built-in check system, so it'll check new players joining your server to see if they have a Valve ban, an EAC ban, or a temporary Rust ban, and it'll alert you in Discord if any one of those triggers is met. Anyways, it does all of that plus so much more. Don't worry, we're going to get into every single detail of this bot, but first I have to show you how to set it up. So first things first, you're going to need a standalone hosted Discord bot. If you need one or don't currently have one to spare, you of course can go to icehost.com and pick up a Discord bot from there. They are $2.99 a month on icehost.com, and I'm not sure if my promo code actually works on Discord bots. So if somebody does go to icehost to purchase a bot, try my promo code. If it works, great. Let me know in the comment section down below. Once you have your bot, it should look something like this on your dashboard. Obviously, you're only going to have one of these, not two like mine. And then we can go into that bot right there, and this is what you're going to be greeted with. Of course, you may not know what to do with this. Don't worry, I'm going to show you every single step that you need to do to make this work on your server. So head on over to codefling.com, click on the download button after you've purchased it. You of course can also go into your previous purchases and it's going to show up in there as well. Don't worry, I know I haven't talked about the promo code yet. I'm going to a little bit later in the video. Once you have the bot actually downloaded from Codefling, it's going to come to you in a zipped folder. It looks just like this right here. And we're going to drag and drop this entire zipped folder into the file system for our new bot. So on our bot dashboard, we simply click on the file tab at the very top right here. And this is where we're going to upload that entire zipped folder. And we can just simply drag and drop it in there and it's going to do everything else that we need. Once that's done, of course, click on the 3 dots on the right hand side there. And we want to click on unarchive right there. That's going to extract all of the different files that we need. And of course, we can then go in and delete the previously used zipped folder. All right. So once we've got all that done, you're going to have a whole bunch of files and folders in here that you may not know what you need to do with. Don't worry. We only have to deal with one of these files and it's super easy to get through. So the only file that you're going to deal with in here is the config.json. We can go ahead and click on that and open it up. This is the configuration file. You've seen these before. If you've ever worked with any kind of a Rust plugin, this should feel very familiar. So I'm going to go through each important section of this configuration file. There is going to be a little bit of sensitive information in here, so I'm not going to show you all of the details. For example, I'm not going to show you my Steam API key. So I will grab that information and then you're not going to see that line again, hopefully, as long as I'm careful with my editing. So thankfully, Amino has put that URL in there. We can simply copy that and open up a new tab and just paste in that address. And then once you have your Steam API key, you can just come back here and pause that in that location right there, just like that. And now that's it. You guys aren't going to see my Steam API key. The very next thing underneath the Steam API key is telling the bot which Discord that we need to be working with. So head on over to your Discord and right click on the title of your Discord, and down at the very bottom there, it should say copy ID. This is the Discord guild ID that we need to put in the configuration file. If you don't have the copy ID function right there, that means that you don't have developer mode turned on in your Discord. To do that, simply click on the gear icon next to your name in the bottom left-hand corner, click on advanced settings, and make sure this toggle right here is turned on, developer mode. Once you have developer mode turned on, you should be able to come back and right click on the title of your server and grab the guild ID. And we simply pass that in right there. All right, so for most of the next steps, you're going to need to know how to build yourself an application or a bot, I guess, depending on how you want to word it, using the Discord developer portal. Now, I've covered most of this stuff on previous tutorials. Hopefully, most of you know what I'm talking about here. I'm just going to really quickly go through creating an application and adding a bot to it because you're going to need to know that information. So I'll put the address to the developer portal in the description down below. Yours obviously won't look like this. If you've never built a bot before, this screen is going to be empty, but as you can see, I have a ton of different bots doing a ton of different things. So once you get here though, we're going to click on the button in the top right hand corner that says new application. We're going to give this guy a name. We're just going to call this application UR bot tutorial. So ultimate Archon bot tutorial. And now we're inside the application. Now for the first page that you land on, you don't have to do anything in here. You can, but you don't necessarily have to. The actual important information we need to deal with is in the bot section. So on the left hand side, you want to click on this tab right here called bot. This is where we get to add a bot to this application. So click on add bot. It's going to confirm that we actually want to do this. And yes, of course we do. We can change the name of the bot in here if we wanted to, but this is the one that we chose. So we're going to go with this. We can change the icon. It's going to show up in Discord once we invite this bot to our Discord. For right now, I'm just going to leave it as this red Discord icon. That's fine. The important thing that we need to deal with in here is the privileged gateway intents. So we want to toggle presence intent on. We also want to toggle on server members intent and scroll down a little bit more and message content intent. We want to toggle all three of those on and then of course click on save changes. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go into the OAuth 2 section of this application and then click on URL generator after that. So there's a couple of really important things in here. You cannot miss this stuff. So we want to click on bot in about the center of the screen right there. And then we also want to click on this checkbox right here called application.commands. And for whatever reason, I just give all of my bots that I use on my, especially on my test server, but on my main server too, I grant them administrative privileges. So click on that box right there. And then at the very bottom of the screen, I don't know if you guys can see that. Yes, you can. You want to copy this entire address to your clipboard. You can also just click on that button right there and it'll copy that to your clipboard. Take that address on your clipboard, open up a new tab and just pause that in the address bar and hit enter. And it's going to bring up the options to invite this bot to your Discord. So obviously in the drop down menu, we're going to select which Discord we want it to go to. And in this case, we're going to use Bull's test server. Click on continue, click on authorize. It's going to ask me if I'm human. I probably have to do a CAPTCHA. And there we go. Turns out I actually am human. And now it has invited that bot to my Discord. So we can open up my Discord. And as you can see offline in my offline section, you can see UR bot tutorial has now just been invited to my Discord server. All right. So now that we have that one bot, we can deal with that in just 1 second. I want to explain what's going on right here. So as you can see here, this is called global pop bot. So what the global pop bot is going to do is basically monitor all of your servers. So if you only have one server, you can probably get away with only using one bot. But if you have multiple servers, this single bot is going to project what the population is of all of your servers combined. And so just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about there, as you can see by the picture that I'm showing on the screen right now, the top bot, just called Ultimate Archon, is showing a population of 6 out of 169. But if you look at the two bots below that, you'll see the breakdown of the two different servers that this bot is actually functioning in. So it's got 4 on one server and 2 on the other server. So if you're only going to be using Ultimate Archon for one server, I would suggest that maybe you could use one bot for multiple functionalities throughout what we're about to do here. If you're going to be using Ultimate Archon for multiple servers, I would suggest having an individual bot for each one of those servers and then another bot for your global settings as well. As you can see, the global pop bot is set to enabled false right out of the box. So if you don't want to have that global pop bot, you're only going to have one server, then you don't even need to activate this section at all. But we are going to use this global pop bot, so let's get started on filling in the details. So obviously we want to enable it. The next thing we need to do is put in the bot token. So that is available from the Discord developer portal where you actually built this bot. I know it gets super frustrating because I'm talking about bots in several different instances. We're talking about bots that we built at the Discord developer portal, but we're also talking about the Ultimate Archon Discord bot. They're both bots, and it's hard for me to differentiate between which one I'm talking talking about. I'm hoping that so far it's clear as to which ones I'm talking about. So obviously to get our bot token, we have to go back over to the Discord developer portal, and we need to click on this purple button right here called reset token. So if you have 2FA enabled on your Discord, which you should, if you don't, you need to go do that right now. It's going to ask you for your 2FA code. So of course you're going to need to put in that information. So now one thing that's really important here is once we go through this process, it's going to show us the bot token one time. We can't go back and view this bot token again. So you're going to want to put this somewhere safe. We're going to transfer this directly into the configuration file, but you're going to want to keep track of your bot token because it is not retrievable. All you can do is reset it to a new one. Once we have that bot token exposed, we can copy that to our clipboard and head back over to our configuration file. And we can just paste it in that bot token right there, just like so. No, you can't use my bot token for anything else. By the time you guys see this video, I will have deleted this application and this bot token won't even exist anymore. And now we get to decide what information is in the status bar down below that bot's name. So we've got a multi-message section or we've got a single message section. So if we leave the multi-message section enabled, which it is by default, it's going to default to these different messages that are going to show up underneath that Discord bot in the status bar. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? If we toggle this to false, it would only use this line right here. And of course, this is editable. You can change this to whatever it is that you want it to say. And of course, right below the global pop bot is where we get into the server information. So the rest of this information that I'm going to show you right here is going to be for one singular server. So of course, we want to give this section a name, and that's literally all you're doing is naming this section of the configuration file so that when you need to refer back to it later, you know where you are. This is especially helpful if you are running multiple servers, all from one config. If you're only running one server, maybe this isn't so important to you. And then of course, the next section of information is very self-explanatory. It's all stuff that you're going to get directly from your server. So Archon IP, Archon password, stuff like that. So my Archon IP is just the IP address of my server. I'll grab my Archon port, which in my case is 30002. Yours is going to be different. Don't use that as a reference. And then of course, we're going to put in our Archon password. I'm going to change this before this video goes live, so you're not even going to be able to try and use this as my password. However, this is legitimately the Archon password for my test server right now. So for the bot token and bot client ID, this is where you need to make a decision. So are you going to be using the global pop bot above? If you're not going to use that section of Ultimate Archon, that bot that we just built, we can use that information in here. I'm going to go off screen and I'm going to actually create another bot because I want to be able to differentiate. I want to be able to show you guys the difference when you're using just one versus using two separate bots inside your Discord server. All right, so here I have my new bot token. So now I have two bots that are all running within this same configuration file. But the next thing I need is the bot client ID. So go back to the Discord developer portal, click on the general information for this application, and this application ID is the client ID that we're looking for. So we can copy that to our clipboard. We're going to take it back to the configuration file. Just wanted to point out again for you guys, both of these bots that I've now created are going to be deleted by the time you guys see this video. So you can try and use this information, but it's not going to work. It's really important that Discord knows that I'm not creating bots and giving away bot token IDs for people to use all over the internet. It would get my account probably banned from Discord and I wouldn't be able to do this type of stuff. So it's important that I mention it every single time that I delete these applications before this video goes live. I know it sucks for you guys, just bear with me. All right, so bot client ID goes in there. All right, so now that we have all of that done, the next thing that we're going to do, and for the rest of this configuration file, is we're going to decide which jobs this bot is actually going to perform for us. So simply go through this list of jobs that are available to this bot and decide if you actually want to utilize that feature. I think most of them are enabled set to false by default, but I haven't gone through yet to actually see if that's actually true. So we're just going to change this to true. This first one here is, do we want to use this bot status to show the population of this particular server? So this might seem a little bit repetitive because I just did it before in the global pop bot, but this is for people that might be using this on multiple different servers and might want to be monitoring each individual's population separately. In this same section, there's also a specified area where we can define something different on a wipe day. So if we want the bot to say something specific for the first 24 hours of wipe, that's where we would deal with it in this section right here. So with this wiped today section, we can enable that and we can set that to true. So if this server were just wiped in the last 24 hours is default right here. You can change that to whatever time frame you want. This bot status would now cycle through these four options right here. And you of course can add more statuses down below this simply by following the same syntax of the ones prior. So the next job is dynamic population population changer. So like I said at the intro of the video, we can have this bot automatically change the available player slots on our server based on the current population. So we need to set this to true, and then we need to set the actual parameters that this section is going to follow. By default, he has it set up so that if the pop is greater than 200, the bot will automatically change the available slots to 225. He's also got another rule down below that if the server reaches a population of 225, it automatically bumps it up to 250. And you can put as many different rules in here as you want. All you'd have to do is copy from before that comma right there to after that curly brace right there and just paste it in as many rules as you want to have. You probably don't necessarily need to have more than 2 or 3 rules set up for this pop changer, but you definitely could if you wanted to. If you want to enable queuing on your server, that's where this next section deals with that. So by default, this is set to true, which is going to make it so that if your queue is equal to or greater than the 10 that is previously specified right here, it's automatically going to bump up the available player slots. So 250 to 275, 300 to 325. Again, same thing as before. You can change these parameters to whatever you want. I would think that you need to make sure that these population parameters right here though aren't below the ones that we did before. I'm willing to bet that that would probably crash the bot and it wouldn't know what to do with that information. That would have been a really great question to ask Amino while we were going over the planning for this video. All right, next up, we're going to be getting into the actual reporting that this bot is going to be doing in your Discord. So these are actual messages that the bot will send directly into your Discord. Yes, we're going to get into how it's actually sending that information to your Discord and where it's sending that information. So obviously we're going to want to give this a title, and then we can put whatever we want inside the description. This is stuff that's actually going to show up in your Discord. So you want to be smart with the information. So a little bit of information about the server that was just wiped that's going to make people want to actually play on your server. This next section here is small image in the embed versus a large image in the embed, or if you actually want to display what the map is directly from rustmaps.com, this is where you get to define all this information. So if you just want to have a small image, just drop in a URL of whatever image you want to have in that embed in your Discord. Let's say like a server logo or something like that. You can definitely drop that URL in there. If you want to use a larger image in that embed, then of course you're going to want to put that URL in the larger image section. However, if you want to actually be using an image of the actual map that is currently loaded on your server, you have to put in your Rust Maps API key. If you don't have an API key, head on over to rustmaps.com, go through the process of setting up an account over there, and then you can get your API key from that. Now, Amino has put a disclaimer in here. If your map has not yet been generated on rustmaps.com, it's not going to show. It's not like the bot can tell the website to generate that map. So the bot's just going to default to whatever large image you put in this configuration file. If you don't put anything in the large image section, then of course it's not going to do anything at all. It won't display any image at all. All right, so let's go up here to the top of this wipe announcement section. You'll see in there that it's asking for a webhook URL. I did ask Amino to put in an address in there that takes you to a location of what to do when you need to set up webhooks, but I see that that hasn't been done yet. That's okay. So setting up webhooks is actually super simple. We go into our Discord server, we go into our server settings, we go into integrations right here, and then we can click on webhooks right here. So this is where we can create webhooks. We can access our previously built webhooks, whatever. So let's create a new webhook. We're going to call this webhook wipe announce, and we need to tell it in which channel we want it to report to. So I just quickly created a channel called wipe announce. We're going to do that. We're going to save those changes, and we're going to copy this webhook URL right here and take that information back over to our configuration file. So at the very top here where it says webhook URL, you want to paste it in that URL that you just created. So what this is going to do is going to make it so that the bot communicates with that webhook URL. When the server wipes, it's going to put that information directly into this channel that we just told that webhook to go to. So all of my wipe information is going to show up in this channel. You can set this up so that you have individual channels for each of the different jobs that this bot is going to perform, or you can put them all in one, or you can put some in one and some in another one. You're basically unlimited to the different configurations that you can do with this bot. I'm going to break some of these jobs out into individual channels, but in the interest of time on this video, you're going to see a little bit of repetition. So a good example of that would be the ban checker and then maybe the private profile checker. We can put both of those reports directly into the same channel. So I've just created another webhook right there called player checker, and I've told it which channel I want to report that into. We're going to copy that webhook URL. We're going to save that. We're going to go back over to our configuration file. We're going to paste in that information to log webhook right there. We're going to do the same thing on the private profile checker section right here, log webhook, just like that. And we need to actually go in and define the parameters that this Steam checker is actually going to follow. So first of all, we're going to set this to true, and then we need to decide how many bands or whatever it is that we want to be monitoring. So by default, this is set up at 1 Rust temp ban, one vac ban, 1 EAC ban, all within the last 30 days. If any one of these triggers is met, and now I actually don't know, is the bot going to actually kick the player out? That's a really great question. I never thought to ask that. I do know that it's going to report that information to the Discord. I would hope, but I don't actually know if it's going to prevent that player from joining the server. That is really great information, and I wish I had it. And I know as soon as Amino sees this video, he's going to comment down below and let me know if the bot is going to kick these players if it meets one of these parameters. If you want the bot to ignore certain Steam 64 IDs, you can put that information right here and it won't perform these checks on those players. If you want the bot to actually ping a staff member in your Discord when it posts one of these messages, of course you would put the role ID of staff or moderator or whatever it is in your Discord so that it'll actually ping them whenever it posts one of these messages. And we can do the exact same thing for private profile checkers. So if somebody is joining your server and they have their Steam profile set to private, it's going to send a notification to your Discord. If we set it to true, do we want the bot to ignore specific Steam 64 IDs? If yes, we can put them in here. If we want the bot to ping a certain staff member, we of course can put that role in here and it'll ping that staff member if somebody tries to enter your server with a private profile. All right, so now I've created another channel in my Discord called Chat Log. This is going to keep track of any chat that happens in my server. So in my specific case, that's going to include global chat as well as team chat, as well as any two-way chat coming from the Discord server going into the Rust server. Now, obviously, you may not want to have all that information displayed in the same place because there's no differentiator in between global chat and team chat. So you might be seeing a conversation happening in there that you might think is global, but it's actually happening in team chat and you'd have no way of knowing the difference. So in order to prevent that from happening, I would suggest separating the chat into a global chat channel and then a team chat channel separate. So first things first, do you use better chat? And I do on this particular server, so we're going to change that to true. We're going to enable that section right there. We're going to post it in our webhook that I just created for that chat channel. And we're also going to do the same thing for team chat. We're going to set this to true. We're also going to post it in that same webhook URL in that location there. However, if you were going to be separating that, you would use a different webhook URL there. Now, Amino has also added in a feature there called simple formatting. So do we want to allow chatting back and forth from your Discord into your Rust server? If you do, you want to set this to true. And obviously you probably don't want the general public being able to chat from your Discord into your Rust server. So you're going to want to assign a staff role or a moderator role, something in this section right here that defines who can actually chat from your Discord into the Rust server. All right, so the next section is the Archon section. So this is where it's actually going to report the Archon and we can actually run commands directly from our Discord into the server, same as you would if you were directly on the Archon. So do we want to have this enabled? Yes, of course we do. Simple formatting. Let's set this to false. The log webhook URL. I've now added another channel in my Discord as well as with another webhook that is going to specify where this information is going. So as you can see in my Discord, I have UR global, UR Archon. So this is where it's going to show just the Archon information for my server. This is also the channel where I'll be able to send commands directly into my server. So now this next section right here, don't send Archon messages that include. And this is where we get to define the things that the bot is actually going to ignore and not send to our Discord server. This is very important because if you get a very active server, you could very easily rate limit your Discord server and then nothing's going to work and you're going to be really upset. And those are rules that are set by Discord. Nobody has any control over that except for them. So we've all seen a null reference exception before and it will flood the entire screen full of these NREs. We don't want to have that happen because it will definitely rate limit you. If you find in your server that you have other things that come up on your Archon that you want to block out so it doesn't flood your Discord server, you can put that information in here. We can add as many lines to this section as we want. Just make sure you're following the same syntax that you see here right now. The message chunking count. So this is how many messages your Archon reports before it's going to chunk that over and send it to your Discord. By default, this is set to 3. Let's just, for argument's sake, let's just change that to 5. So once my server Archon actually reaches 5 lines that needs to be reported, it'll chunk that out and send it into the Discord. So the Archon section, we're going to enable that, set that to true. We're going to put in the same webhook URL that we just used before. We also need to define staff IDs. So obviously we don't want the general public to be able to send commands from the Discord into your Rust server. So you want to define specific roles that can actually do that. Again, in my case, I'm just going to use the owner ID. I'm the only person that's in my Discord server. So that's all I need to do. However, you can can actually add as many roles in here as you want. Just separate each one by a comma and a space. Again, just following the same syntax that you see there right now. There's also an automated muting system built into this bot. However, if you want to make use of this feature, you actually have to be using Better Chat Mute on your server. I know a lot of you already are, but if you want to be able to use this functionality and you don't currently use Better Chat Mute in your server, you need to add it. There's a manual muting section where you would define specific staff roles that do have the permission to mute specific players. And then we've got an automated muting section. So if somebody says something that we've defined in this configuration file, and as you can see there, Amino has some terrible words in there, I actually might need to blur that out. I'm not sure. I'll think about that. But if any of these parameters are met by somebody in your public chat actually saying these words, then it'll automatically mute them out and they'll no longer be able to chat publicly for the defined length of time. By default, it's set to 24 hours. If you want to log auto mutes, of course, you would set this to true. You would also define a webhook going to a specific channel in your Discord server. So the next section here is all about server logging, and each individual job can be defined into its own different channel in your Discord server, or if you just want to put them all into one reporting section, you can definitely do that too. In here, we have F7 report logging, F1 spawn item log, join log, leave log, server messages log, a death log or a kill feed, whatever you want to call it. And then we've also got private messages. So we can send all of this information into one specific channel called reporting in our Discord server, or we can individually break these out into their own channels if we wanted to. That seems like it would take me a long time to do that on video, so it doesn't really make any sense for me to do it. However, you can definitely decide, because each individual job of this section has its own section for a webhook URL. All right, so I've gone through and enabled each one of these features. I've also added in the webhook URL that is going to report to this section right here called UR reporting. So there's only two more things that I need to tell you about. So the F7 report logging, you can define in here any Steam 64 IDs that you want the bot to ignore. So like if you have admins or moderators that you don't want F7 reports to be logged against them, you would put those Steam 64 IDs in here and it'll ignore any reports that are sent in with those Steam 64 IDs. And you can do this separately for reports coming from as well as reports against. So for example, let's say you have somebody in your server that literally reports everybody for everything or anything at all. It doesn't even really matter. Let's say they're just annoying you with F7 reports. You can add that person's Steam 64 ID right here in the ignore F7 reports from, and then the bot will ignore any reports coming in from that Steam 64 ID. Pretty self-explanatory, right? And let's say you have a moderator on your server or something like that. Somebody that's playing in your server, let's say they get into gunfights and they forget that they're in God mode or whatever, and they end up getting a report sent in from a legitimate player thinking that this person is actually cheating. You can set it up so that any reports coming in against that specific moderator is simply ignored by the bot. Honestly though, if you have a moderator that's in your server doing that, you probably should get rid of that moderator because they're not doing you any favors. And then the last thing that I wanted to tell you about when it comes to this configuration file is this private messages section. So we can have this bot reporting private messages from player to player. However, obviously this is only going to work if you're using the actual private messages plugin, but it is worth noting, and I did actually test this out. There's another private messages plugin out there. It's also available on UMod, but it's called something else that will not work with this specific bot. So if you want that type of reporting, you have to be using private messages directly from UMod, and that's actually what it's called. So if you're using the other one that I'm talking about, if you're using one from another website altogether, it's probably not going to work with this bot. All right, so finally we're at the end of this configuration file. So all we need to do is save all of the changes that we've made so far. You probably should have saved a couple of times throughout, and then we can go back over to our bots console and we can just click on start. All right, so you all can't tell this, but this is actually the next day. I was running into some technical difficulties, which also delayed the release of this video by one day. So I had to make some changes to the system. For you all that are setting this up for yourselves, it's going to work exactly the way that I have now shown you at this point. You would then go to your bot's dashboard and then of course just click on start and it's going to run through, and then your bot is going to be online. But because I had to do things a little bit differently because of my own specific circumstances, Discord kept rate limiting the bot and kicking it offline. You're not going to have this problem. And if I were patient, I would no longer have this problem either, but I need to get this done so that you guys can see this video. So this blue box that you see on screen right now, this is what an operational Discord bot looks like when you're local hosting it. What you're going to see on your dashboard, it's going to look a little bit different, but it's going to have the same information in there. The colors and everything are a little bit different. But anyways, now that we have our configuration file all set up and we have our bot up and running, and hopefully so do you, now we can actually test it out and see what this is actually doing. So because of the way I set it up in the configuration file, I actually broke it out into several different channels. You don't necessarily have to do that on your server. You can do pretty much whatever configuration you want, but you'll notice that it can get a little bit overwhelming, the number of messages that your server is going to start sending to your bot. So it might be helpful to actually break this out into specific channels. So for example, like you remember, we have the global, we have the Archon itself, we have the wipe announcement channel, we've got the ban checker, as well as the private profile checker, and then we've got the chat log, so on and so forth. I don't have to go over all of these again. You just watched me do this, but for me, this is the next day. So going into the Archon section, which is the most important part I feel about this, you can see that it's reporting the save every couple of minutes, and there's really not much else going on in the server right now because there's nothing going on in the server. So on a different screen here, I'm just going to start adding a couple of plugins. And as you can see there, as I load those plugins, it's starting to chunk that information into my Discord. So I'm seeing the exact same reporting in my Discord that I would normally be seeing in the server console had I been watching that. So as you can see there, we loaded Better Chat, we loaded Vanish, and we loaded Player Administration right there. So it's reporting all of those 5 different lines of information as they're appearing in the console. So if we were to have a look at the actual server console, you can see there, that's the information that it's now reporting to Discord. So I have my game running and I'm logged into this actual server on another monitor, and I'm just going to type in chat there. I'm just going to type test. And as you can see, that appeared in the chat log because we set it up in a separate channel just for chat, and it reports back exactly what I said in chat. And if I were in team chat, it would report that separately, showing you that it's coming from team chat. Now, I know that I said earlier in this video that there was no way to differentiate between global chat and team chat. I misspoke when I said that. As you can see there, it's obviously defined whether it's coming from global chat or team chat, so it's okay that you have all of this information all reporting to one channel. However, for ease of readability, you might find it beneficial to actually separate those into separate channels as well. Totally up to you. It's going to come down to how much chat information is coming through. If you have a really busy global chat as well as a really busy team chat, you probably want to separate that out. Now, if we go into the Archon channel, we can actually send commands directly from the Discord and they will take effect onto the server. So we do /Archon and then hit enter, and then it's asking us to enter which command that we want to run. Let's say we wanted to change the time to 9 a.m. We can do env.time 9. That's going to change the in-game time to 9 o'clock in the morning. And we get a response back just like that saying env time is 9 a.m. Let's say you wanted to run a restart command directly from your Discord. Do /Archon, and then we can put in the same parameters that we normally would. By default, this is set to 5 minutes, but we can also add our own time on there. So let's say we wanted to restart it in 30 seconds. We would do /Archon reset 30. If I were to execute this right now, it would start the countdown timer for 30 seconds and it would restart the server after that. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. If you've ever ran a command in your console or your F1 console, you're going to know all of the capabilities that you can do directly from your Discord because it's exactly the same. All right, so I feel like I'm going into a lot of detail here, and I know that most of you are already getting the picture of what this bot has the capability of doing. The long and the short of it is everything that you're used to doing on your server console, you can now do directly from your Discord, which means you can take it with you on your phone as long as you have Discord installed on your phone. And I mean, honestly, we're in our Discord far more often than we're actually logged into our server's console. This here, I'm just showing you what's going on in an actual playable server that actually has players on it. You can see there's a ton of information going on through my Discord, and this is all coming directly from Ultimate Archon. So obviously we've got a chat feed, we've got team chat as well as global chat, we've got a player kill feed, we've got players joining and leaving, just an absolute plethora of information. Now you also might have noticed in the reporting for chatting as well as logging onto the server or disconnecting from the server, you'll see these two little tags right here. There's one for Steam and there's also one for BM or Battle Metrics. If we click on one of those links right there, it's going to take us directly to that player's, in this case, Steam profile. Or if we click on the other one, it's going to take you directly into their Battle Metrics profile. So if for whatever reason you're investigating a player or whatever, it's very easy to get to all of the information all at the click of a button. All right, like I said, I think I'm getting a little bit too detailed into this stuff. This isn't necessary. You guys get the picture. Everything that you can do in your server's console, you can now do directly from your Discord. Reporting of what's going on in your server, you can send commands directly to your server. Just a ton of capabilities. Which of course brings me to probably the most important point. You get all of this for the low price of $14.99 US. $6. And I'm actually just noticing right now that Amino has actually dropped the price from $17.69 down to $14.99. But me being who I am, I was able to negotiate a promo code for all of the viewers of my channel. That promo code is Srtbull. And if I recall correctly, it gets you 30% off of whatever price it currently is at when you're watching this video. And I actually just noticed why the price was at $14.99. It's because Codefling.com is doing their summer sale right now. So that's why there's a bit of a discount right now. Plus my promo code that I got for you guys gets you another 30% off. So I would imagine that there's probably no better time to go get this bot for your Rust community. I can't see the price getting any better than it is right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you giving me one extra day to get this video produced for you. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you get notified as soon as I upload a new video, or if I happen to go live, you'll also get that notification as well. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this video was probably a little bit longer than I wanted to make it, but I was super hyped up when I seen this bot actually working, and I was really excited to show you guys all about it. And I wanted to give you as much information as I could about setting it up so that hopefully a ton of you will go out and buy this bot, set it up exactly how I've taught you to do it, and hopefully have no issues. If you do happen to have issues, of course, you can always hit me up in the comment section down below, or hit me up in my Discord at discord.srtbull.com. All right, enough blabbering on. I'm not going to promote anything else. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next week.